Welcome back to our creation of Sleigh Ride with Santa stocking. And today, this is part 6. We're going to start with applying this small piece of the sleigh runner. It simply got some gold or yellow sequins. I think they're called yellow in this pattern. And it just is going to get an applique stitch right where it's indicated. You just need to be certain that you've covered the white lines and that your line on the piece does line up with the other lines in the pattern that it will line up with. As you can see here, Finnegan has joined us and decided to be in the way a little bit, so sometimes I have to encourage him to move along. So you can see this line on the sleigh. Thanks again, Finny. Lines up and matches exactly with the next piece that's going to go on top. So this will be a simple applique stitch with a single strand of yellow floss all the way around and knot off, and then we'll be done. Now we're ready to begin uh, the the big runner or of the sleigh, and it will have a front and a back. The front here is all sequined, and that will be stuffed with one long chenille stick curved, and then the upright pieces will be also stuffed with a chenille stick that is cut to be shorter. You can see here we're going to embroider with that dark dashed line, and that is going to tell us that it is 2 strands of red brown outline stitch. We will cut out the sleigh runner first. I believe I went ahead and cut both pieces out, and then we will embroider it with the outline stitch right there as each of the upright pieces, right there, and right there. And then we will apply the sequins, and then we'll start preparing our chenille stick. Now we're ready to do our two strands of outline stitch right at the base of these uprights on that solid line there. And we will be using the technique of tying the two ends together so that we now have a double strand, and we'll be doing the outline stitch with the technique that we've gone over already, edge to edge outline stitch, so that we can not have to come up and down right on the right in the edge of the felt where it could easily fray. So use that technique. Start in a little ways, go all the way around, and then come up very close, if not about a little bit away from where you initially came up, and then continue all the way across with your outline stitch, and then go all the way around at the end on the other side as well, and tack that down. Make sure you get it where you want it in the first place. It's so much easier than trying to come back and fix. Okay, we have got both pieces cut out. We've got the embroidery done and the sequins done. And now it's time to set up for our chenille sticks to stuff this sleigh runner rail. Now my chenille stick wasn't quite long enough to make the entire length of the rail and the whole curve, so you can see that I've cut an additional piece and curved that up there at the top. I felt it would be easier to line up a curve than it would be to line up a straight. Don't know if that's true or not, but that's how I did it. And then I cut the uprights for the rail about the right length there. And remember, I'm always going to say this, I can't not say it, you have got to use utility scissors, not your good felt cutting scissors for cutting these chenille sticks. And you get all those lined up and where you want them, get them all the right length, and then get ready to stitch it together with your yellow thread. Now I chose to stitch, I'm going to choose to stitch the straight end, so you can see that that does look like it's going to work. I just kind of gave it a quick test, but now I'm going to pull it all apart again and start with the end of the rail, the straight end of the rail, and I'm going to do the upper side where the uprights are. So I'm going to go along the end stitching, and one side of the upright, insert the chenille stick, and then close it up. Go along again along the rail till I get to the next upright, stitch the one side of the upright, insert the chenille stick, and close the other side of the upright. Again, go along the rail, stitch up one side of the upright, insert this small piece of chenille stick, and close it down the other side. And then I'm going to go all the way around the curve until I get to the end, and that at that point I'm going to insert the first small portion of the curve and close the felt, always working to close the felt after I have stitched half of it and inserted the stick. And you'll see I'll speed that up quickly and let you see that as it goes. That should make sense as you see it going along. It's a little crazy to look at here, but this is where we are. And I am finishing stitching in this upright piece here. There's one in here, and as you can see down here laid here, I've got the long piece. That piece I'm going to put in last in the long opening there. I think that will make it easiest. And I'm not quite sure. I couldn't get, or maybe it was too, I had to piece the curl in. I'm wondering if I could have made the curl long and pieced a straight piece in, but I honestly think a straight piece is more likely to be visible if it doesn't line up right. I'm just mumbling to myself here as I'm working on this. Okay, got one side of that stitched, so I'm going Okay, the runner is completed. Now it just needs to be sewn down to the stocking. At this point in the directions, it indicates to tack it down. And I do tack it down, but I do a little bit more than just tack it down. If I was to tack it down, I would be stitching, maybe the top of each of the uprights and maybe 3 or 4 places on the full runner. Um, that isn't enough for me because the indication lines on the stocking are much more than that. And so I do not want indication lines to be able to be seen. So that's why I'm going to actually do more of a sew down of this whole runner and all of its uprights in order to be certain that the indication lines, see how they're showing right there on the white? Yep, you gotta pull it down, get it, and the curl also is hard to keep down. So I'm probably sewing it more like stitching it to the stocking than tacking. That's just all I wanted to let you know. The next piece is so simple. It is the elf's hand, and it is just one of those flesh-colored pieces. It has no embroidery on it or anything. It's just going to be cut out and then appliqued down with one of our kind of it's whatever piece that's closest to white but not white. That thread is what you're going to use, a single strand, to just applique that down. Right, it's piece number 39 right there, and that's what you're going to do. Then you'll move ahead with the rest of it, but it's just his hand. Very simple tack down. I'm sorry, not a tack down, applique. Applique his hand to the stocking. Wonderful. You can see the hand is applied, and we are ready for the next step. You can cross off the hand, sequin, lightly stuff, and applique the sleeve to the stocking. The sleeve is number 40, so I'm guessing it's this, his little sleeve right there, number 40. So let's see what. All right. I have gotten the sequins on, gotten the arm cut out. I have the lines lined up here where they match the rest of the stocking. And it's time to stitch it down, and we are going to stuff it. And when I'm deciding what and how to do that, I look at the piece and see where is the largest, smoothest edge. That's the easiest to stuff. And I see in this piece, it's this right here. So I'm going to actually stitch around kind of the cuff by his hand, down into his elbow, around in his shoulder to about right here. And then I will stop, and that will leave all of this open for really a very, very small amount of stuffing. I don't know how many times I've said it, but the stuffing is just adds a slight 3D effect, but it's not meant to be stuffing like if you're stuffing something you've made like a stuffed animal. It's really just to kind of create a little bit of an effect. And again, here when I'm stitching on top of another piece, I don't usually go all the way through to the underside. I just go in that piece and then back up, because that's all we have to do is stitch it to the piece that is already fastened on. And if you saw me picking things and pulling things away, it's as I find cat hair. Okay, it's as I find cat hair, I try to pull, but it's a never-ending battle. So really, I just try not to stitch them in. That's about all I can do. At the end, I give it a cleaning down with a light piece of tape to get off everything I can before I ship it off. that's about 3/4 of the way around there. And grab my little baggie of stuffing here. And this is going to be such a small, that is way too much. That is probably even a little much. So got about that much. That may be a little